Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be making some wonderful apple cider vinegar, and we've been busy harvesting some of the 10 different varieties of apples that we grow here at Forget-Me-Not Farm. And we put these apples to all sorts of uses for us and the animals. But one of the things that I love making every year is apple cider vinegar, and I use it as a tonic, as a digestive aid. I use it in dressings, I use it for marinating meat and vegetables, and I use it for feeding the chickens and the sheep. So we're going to be preparing these apples and starting the process of the fermentation, and I'll walk you through that. So first of all, we get ourselves some apples, and I like to do a selection. And we'll take these and we will go and give them a wash. So we've washed our apples and now we're going to chop them up. So now we've chopped up the apples and we've cut out any bad bits, and we're leaving the cores in, we're leaving the skins on. We put them into our container that we're going to use, and I prefer to use glass where possible. Don't use metal because this is fermentation and the metal can react as the acid is formed. And we want to fill our container around about 1/2 to 3/4 full. We don't want to fill it all the way up. Allow a bit of room for the fermentation to happen. Now we want to make up our sugar water that we're going to cover the apples with. And I use different types of sugar. You can even use blackstrap molasses. But here I have got a soft brown cane sugar, and it's not an exact recipe, so don't get stressed about absolute exact quantities. It very much is roughly around this, and I'll do about a tablespoon to a tablespoon and a half of sugar per litre of water. The brown sugar will make the vinegar browner in colour. A lighter coloured sugar will obviously make a lighter colour vinegar. So just mix that in to dissolve it. And you want to use organic apples here. Not only are organic apples better for your health, better for the environment, better for the insects and the bugs. You don't want any of those nasty pesticides or sprays or glyphosate getting into your fruit and into the food that you're eating or that you're giving to your animals. So we don't use any sprays whatsoever on our fruit. Sometimes we have to share an apple with a grub, and you know that's okay. So now that's dissolved, more or less. We pour it over our apples. This water is also filtered water, which means it doesn't have any chlorine or fluoride in it. The chlorine can affect the fermentation process, and pretty much all of our tap water in the UK is chlorinated. Not all of it's fluoridated. We are here where we live, but I prefer to keep the fluoride out and certainly to keep the chlorine out, because that can kill the beneficial yeasts and the bacteria that's found on these beautiful apples, because that's what's going to now eat the sugar from the apple and the sugar that we've added to the water. And they're going to convert what we've got here into an alcohol. So we want to leave a little bit of headspace. And you see how the apples are floating to the surface. We want to keep these apples under the surface, and that will help to prevent any moulding issues. So I have a little glass weight here that I use in ferments that I make regularly, and I just plonk that on the top there, nice clean glass weight, and it keeps those apples underneath the surface of that sugar water. You can buy these on the internet or at a good kitchenware shop. In the past, I have actually used a pebble from the garden that I have scrubbed and made sure that it was completely clean, and I put the pebble in the top and weigh whatever I'm fermenting down underneath that liquid. So now we have our apples in the jar, covered by the sugar water, and we have our weight on the top, holding it all down underneath that liquid. We need to keep this covered to stop particles getting in, to stop flies getting in, dust, anything like that. But we do need to let some air circulate. So we're going to use just a simple piece of kitchen towel like this, covered and held in place by this elastic band. And that will do the job perfectly. Then we need to go and put this in a dark, moderately warm place, and we're going to leave it there for about 2 to 3 weeks to ferment. That was the reason why we didn't fill the liquid all the way up to the top, because during the fermentation process, this could get quite bubbly and fizzy and the level can rise. So you need to allow what's called a head space to allow that expansion of the liquid to happen. Otherwise it can froth over and cause a bit of a mess. So perhaps you can put this in your airing cupboard or a cupboard in your kitchen, somewhere where it's not too cool. We need that heat to help the beautiful yeasts and the bacteria on these lovely organic apples to do their job. If it's too cold, then that slows down the activity. We also don't want it too hot either, so don't have this right next to a radiator or a heat source like your oven. So just a moderately warm place, and keep it dark as well, because sunlight can actually destroy these beautiful vitamins that we have exposed here from the cut apple. We want all of this to be retained in this wonderful product. So another thing you can do, if you struggle to find cupboard space to put your apple cider vinegar in, you can keep it on the work surface, but you do need to keep that light out. So I just have an old towel here, and what I'm going to do is to wrap it around it and hold it in place with an elastic band, and then that can stay on the top of your work surface somewhere. So we're going to let this ferment for about 2 to 3 weeks, and you can pop and check on it every so often and just remove the cover, smell it. You can even have a taste of it. The only caution I'll give you is you do not want any coloured mould forming on this. That often is an indication that something wasn't clean, contamination got in, and you just need to dump it out and start again. You might, when you look at it, see a little film of white yeasty substance forming on the top, and that's perfectly all right. That often happens when we ferment fruit and vegetables. It's a substance called Khan, K-H-A-N, and you can just take a spoon and skim that off if you want. It's a form of yeast that sometimes grows, and it won't do you any harm at all, so don't worry about that. After about 2 to 3 weeks, the yeast on the apples will have been working on the sugar and turning it into alcohol. So it should taste like cider, really. And what we're then going to do is we're going to bring the jar back out onto our work surface, and we're going to have a sieve and a jug set up, and we're going to pour it through the sieve, and we're going to strain off the juice, the liquid, from the apple pieces. The apple pieces can go into our compost, wonderful for the compost. If we have chickens, please give them to the chickens. It's a wonderful probiotic food for them. They'll really benefit from it. If you have sheep or goats, give it to them, or pigs, give it to them. Otherwise, put it in the compost. And if you don't have a compost bin, I strongly urge you to start making your compost. And that's another discussion we can have at another time. Put the juice that's been strained out back into this jar, cover it again, and put it back in your moderately warm, dark cupboard. And you're going to leave it for another 3 weeks, maybe even 4, 5 weeks. And what you're looking for in that time is the second phase of the fermentation. And that's where we now get the bacteria that is in here from the apples working on the alcohol and turning the alcohol into acetic acid or vinegar. And that is the result that we're looking for. And you can do the same again. You can come back, you can have a look at it, you can smell it, you can taste a little bit, and you should start finding that the taste changes and it's becoming more tart, more sharper. And the longer you leave it, the more of that alcohol will be converted into vinegar and the stronger it will get. And it's a wonderful substance to have. It's great for the household. Apple cider vinegar is something I take every single day. I have a mug full of warm water with a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in it when I wake up first thing in the morning, and that helps to give my liver a real kick into action, a real boost for the day ahead. And in the past, I used to suffer a lot with acid reflux or heartburn. And 10 minutes before I ate a meal, I would have a spoonful of apple cider vinegar in a little bit of water, and I would drink that down, and 10 minutes later, I would eat my meal. And over time, that really has helped me with my digestion and building up my own acid in my own stomach for digesting my food. So that's a huge benefit. There are loads of wonderful vitamins and minerals in the finished product of apple cider vinegar. That is as a result of the fermentation process. Fermentation helps to unlock and release so many more of those bound up vitamins and minerals in plants, in vegetables, and so on. So that is a real benefit. So I really strongly urge you to give this a go. Make it. It's so beneficial for your health and for the health of your animals as well, if you have any. And try it out and put in the comments below what you think. Have you managed to make any successfully, and are you using it on a regular basis in your household? And yeah, I'd love to hear from you. So thanks ever so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. So here's the apple cider vinegar after 6 days of being on the side, and I thought I'd just show you what it looks like. Pull down the cozy cover and you should be able to see lots of bubbles coming up there, fermenting away really happily. That's what we're looking for. We'll just lift the top of it and you can see what it looks like under the cover. Really nice and frothy and bubbly. And that slightly pinky colour is actually from those very red apples that I first cut up and popped in. That's the colour that's coming from them. But that's looking good and healthy, bubbly and lively. So we'll cover that up and we'll leave it for another 2 weeks.